Hey guys, today I'm going to be taking a look at this Heng military truck. Now, if you've been a subscriber to my channel for a while, I'm sure you've seen my two Heng tank reviews, both the Tiger 1 tank, the German Tiger 1, and the US Sherman tank that I reviewed more recently. And I've really been impressed with Heng. They make some really nicely detailed military products, and you know, it's a low cost. They're not super expensive. Now, this is not at the same quality level of the tanks. You know, it costs considerably less, but it still has really nice detail. I really like the detail of it. And this would be fun for, you know, a military, you know, someone who collects military stuff or likes military vehicles, or if you want to drive it with maybe one of your tanks or something and do some, you know, combat recreation and type of stuff. It does have two working front headlights. You know, it's got a fake looking, you know, winch on the front and hooks and stuff like that. But the lights do function. But it has like I said, a lot of nice little detail. You can fold out these little rear view side mirrors. It's got rubber tires, you know. You can see on the bottom here the drive shaft from the front to the rear. You know, it's got a full four-wheel drive. You see here. Don't believe it's not a differential, but it's full front to back to front. You know, it uses a little brush motor. It doesn't have any kind of steering trim on the controller. You have to trim it up using a little dial, kind of like the lower, the cheaper toy grade stuff you'd buy at Walmart and stuff would use. The truck's, you know, it gets along quicker than I thought it would, but it's not too fast to where any of this is really an issue to me. I don't really need steering trim on the controller for the speed of this truck. But overall, you know, the build quality seems to be pretty good. It does have a little bit of suspension, you can see here. It's got this little metal spring piece underneath, you know, here, which would be about what a military truck would have. Anybody that's ridden in a military truck would know they're really bouncy. So it does just use that. So it has a little bit of suspension, but they're not shocks. And it does come with two spare ones of those in case for some reason, I guess it would break or pop out, though I can't imagine it's going to. Like I said, this thing is not super fast. It has, it doesn't have proportional steering, like, you know, it's just using this trim, and it's not proportional, so it's just what I call bam steering. You kind of hear that motor go rrr, rrr, as it's just trying to keep continuing to go. So it's closer to the toy grades. A lot of them use that. Of course, the throttle is also non-proportional, so it's just one speed when you pull the trigger. But it works fine for this. I'm not going to really put that as a big con. I would like to have seen proportional steering. And I think a lot of people, a truck like this, it would be something, you know, it has this metal, it has a nice metal frame to it. So there's a lot of nice starter parts, I guess you could say, to upgrade this. I don't see why you couldn't upgrade this to a real servo in there and give it proportional steering. It may be a little sloppy with this, you know, a steering system. You might want to switch that also. And I don't know about switching it to a proportional throttle, but I think you could with the steering. You may have to swap out, you know, a receiver, but you could certainly. This truck is certainly a base for modding up to making it better, especially considering the price. So, like I said, it's 4x4, so you know it moves along pretty good. I'll show you that in the test drive. It uses a nickel cadmium pack. Again, an old school, I would call it, technology, but it's just fine for something like this. And it's kind of neat. It goes under the hood here. So you pop it up here. It uses one of those kind of odd connectors so many of them use on nickel cadmium packs, but it's 700 milliamp hour, 6 volt. You know, they're AA battery size nickel cadmium. It takes an hour to charge, a little longer possibly. It gets around 20 minutes drive time. That's what I got, at least the first time. When I was around that, I was starting to slow down, and you can see it even says it on the box here. 60 minutes charge time, 20-minute drive time. It says it has a max climbing angle of 30 degrees, so that's a decent. And about 30-meter is your control distance. So not a lot of control distance, but you know, not terrible. And it shows here in the back, you know, some of the, you know, the components and, you know, what it all is called and everything. And you can, hopefully I can get this into view. It comes in You know, the color I have, the tan, it comes in more the army green if you want to go with that color as well. Like I said, I don't remember the price offhand. I'll have a purchase link to the website. This is available from Hobby NRC, who sent me this review. They're owned by Litake, and it could be on Litake's website also. I may have links to both of them. I'll include a coupon code if I've got one for it too. The charger that the battery uses is just one of these, you know, again, a standard wall charger, a USB wall charger. And like I said, it takes an hour, and it outputs 250 milliamps at 6 volts. And the light will go out when it's finished charging. So it doesn't take too long, which I was pleased with on the nickel cadmiums. But those are kind of funky when charging. Just kind of charge them typically, and you know, in the old days you'd charge them until they were kind of warm to the touch, but not too hot. You know, they're a little different about their charging voltages. The controller is, I actually kind of like it. It's kind of a mini pistol grip. It'd be really nice for a kid. It just has an on and off switch, as you can see. And it's just, you know, there's not much steering, because with it being a bam-bam non-proportional steering, then there's no need for it to go far. Just and there's your throttle. It does have reverse. But like I said, everything's just one speed, bam-bam. I think it takes 2 AA batteries. I'll go ahead and turn it on here so you guys can see, and then we'll take it out for the test drive. The lights are flashing here, the white LEDs. I'll turn it on, and it'll bind up, and there you can see. You can hear that. And it seems like it steers more to the, well, maybe not so much, maybe a little more to the left. That's very common in that type of motorized steering. Okay. There we can see all 4, I don't want to do it here on the table, I'm going to drive off the table, but all 4 wheels going. So overall, this is not a bad little truck. A nice little beginner truck for getting into something military if you want to, without having to spend a whole lot of money. So let's move along now to the drive review on this truck. Alright guys, so I have the Heng military truck out here in my backyard. I'm going to go ahead and take it out here and we'll just kind of drive it around, demonstrate the power that it has since it's 4-wheel drive and the speed, and just give an idea of what it can do. This won't be very long because there's not a whole lot to show off on this. So let's go ahead and give it some throttle. Of course, it's like I said, it's just 1 speed. A little bit bouncy. Of course, I'm just turning. Obviously, you just have to continue holding the turning, but it's just one, just bam steering. So you see it drives up this incline is probably 30 degrees, and it's going up it. But going this grass is a little thick. It's going to have a little bit more trouble. It seems to have adequate power. Certainly drive it out of my pool cover here, no problem. Like I said, it's a little quicker than I thought, but it's certainly not fast. But let's back it up here. Yes, it made it over all that little bump with no problem. You can see the, you know, I get down here low, you can see the headlights as I back up. So I said it's more for realism. So I think this would be pretty neat to get out with my tanks. I just don't have anybody right at the moment to help me. I think Corey's tied up today, and my daughter, who likes to do this stuff, is still at school, so I don't have somebody else to drive the tank with me. Otherwise, I'd have it out with the tank. If I ever get some snow, seems like we haven't had much snow here in 2 years, I would certainly like to get this truck out in the tank and kind of have like a winter combat scene or something. If I do that, I'll definitely make a video and put it up on the channel just so you guys can see what it looks like. But I said it's got decent power. You know, it's not going to go quick. You see, it's not going to go quick through the grass, especially tall grass. But it's not getting stuck. So all in all, this is something, you know, is going to be good for someone who wants to get some sort of military vehicle and doesn't want to spend a lot of money on like a Tamiya or some of their, you know, their really high-end stuff. Want to start out, and if you don't mind modding, like I said, I don't see why you couldn't do some mods to this truck. Like I said, I have not actually tried it, but it'd be nice if you could change that steering and maybe put a different receiver and a better transmitter and go to a fully proportional, because you wouldn't be able to get proportional steering on this little click steering wheel. You'd have to upgrade to something like, you know, a basic Fly Sky receiver would have no problem. 35, 40 bucks, and something like that. Had a little problem there in reverse. Seems like reverse has a little less power. We'll see if we can make it all the way up the hill here. I don't know if I'll be able to make it up on my driveway. My patio. Let's see. Yeah, the four-wheel drive definitely helps, but neat little truck. I mean, I do like it. It's just not something you're going to use for sporty activities. Yeah. And it does require, as you can see, some jimmying it around a little bit to steer it where you want to go in a tight space, because it doesn't have the steering radius all the time. Sometimes more than others, especially when you're moving. That's going to give the wheels a little easier time moving than trying to start out with the tires all turned as far as they go and steer. It won't steer as much as when you're moving, and the inertia kind of pushes those wheels a little farther over. So overall, I said in reverse, you can see it's going. It just seems to have a little less power in reverse. So I mean, it is what it is. I don't really have any reason to knock this truck, because it's not supposed to be, you know, a fast vehicle. It's not supposed to have a ton of power. It's more for realism and you know, military recreations and stuff. And it looks pretty cool sitting in my basement next to my tanks, having this truck. You see, there's supposed to be, of course, the reverse, you know, the rear tail lights. Those don't actually function. Just the front ones, you know, headlights do. So overall, you know, like I said, I like this truck for what it is, and I think you could modify it, but it's certainly nothing high end, but it's pretty much along the lines of the other Heng Long stuff. So this is a little cheaper. I think, you know, the tanks have more functionality, and, you know, they have smoke and shoot bullets, and they do a lot more, but they're also, you know, $100 or more typically, where this is much less than that. So there's a purchase link in the description if you're interested in checking this out. I'll include a coupon code if there is one, and links to, you know, either one or both websites, and you can check out. One might be a little cheaper than the other, but they're both, Litake owns Hobby NRC. It's just a new website they created, just dedicated only to their RC products, and not everything like Litake. So that should wrap this review up. Hope you guys have a Merry Christmas if you celebrate it, and a good day, and see you soon.
The power of the dark side.